Film history repeatedly demonstrates that box office results are a poor measure of long-term importance. Some of the most influential movies ever made were commercial failures upon release, undone by marketing missteps, cultural timing, or concepts audiences were not yet prepared to embrace. In many cases, critics were equally unsure how to react, responding with confusion, discomfort, or outright hostility. Over time, however, home video, cable television, repertory screenings, and changing social attitudes allowed these films to be rediscovered on their own terms. The following 10 films all failed initially, but went on to become cult classics or widely accepted masterpieces.
Say something.
Say! Do one of you guys know how to Madison?
The Rocky Horror Picture Show from 1975 stands as the most extreme example of this transformation. The film follows a conservative engaged couple whose car breaks down, forcing them to seek shelter in the castle of Dr. N Furter, a flamboyant alien scientist hosting a hedonistic, genre-bending party. Produced for roughly $1.2 to $1.4 million, the film earned only $21,000 in its opening week, prompting most theaters to drop it almost immediately. The failure was largely due to its refusal to fit any conventional marketing category. It was a musical, it was a horror parody, a sex comedy, and an open celebration of queerness. At a time when mainstream American audiences were deeply uncomfortable with such material, critics largely dismissed it as tasteless, incoherent, or juvenile, with many reacting negatively to its sexual frankness. Its fortune changed when midnight screenings encouraged audience participation, turning ridicule into ritual. Over decades of theater re-releases, soundtrack sales, and home media, the film has earned an estimated $150 to $170 million, becoming the longest-running theatrical release in cinema history.
You're reading a magazine, you come across a full-page nude photo of a girl.
Is this testing whether I'm a replicant or a lesbian, Mr. Deckard?
Just answer the questions, please.
Ridley Scott's Blade Runner from 1982 suffered for very different reasons. Set in a dystopian future, the film follows a weary Blade Runner tasked with hunting down bioengineered humans while questioning what it truly means to be human. With a sizable budget of about $28 to $30 million, the film earned only $39 to $41 million worldwide during its initial theatrical run, which was considered a disappointment after marketing costs. Audiences expecting a fast-paced science fiction adventure were instead confronted with a bleak, philosophical noir that prioritized atmosphere over action. Critics were sharply divided. While some praised its visual design, others derided it as slow, emotionally distant, and narratively confusing. Its release shortly after E.T. the Extraterrestrial further hurt its reception, as Blade Runner offered a grim view of the future when audiences wanted optimism. Home video and later release of director-approved cuts in the 1990s radically altered perceptions. Re-releases and strong video sales eventually pushed its total revenue to an estimated $180 to $200 million, and it is now regarded as one of the most influential science fiction films ever made.
What do we do?
Why don't we just wait here for a little while? See what happens.
John Carpenter's The Thing from 1982, released the same summer, was similarly ill-timed. A group of researchers in Antarctica encounter a shape-shifting alien that can perfectly imitate any living organism, turning isolation into paranoia and mistrust. Produced for around $15 million, it made only $19 to $21 million worldwide, branding it a box office failure. The film was undone by its bleak nihilism and graphic practical effects, which repulsed critics and viewers alike at the time. Many critics attacked it as overly grotesque and emotionally empty, especially when contrasted with warmer alien narratives popular in the early 1980s. The film's relentless paranoia and lack of reassuring ending alienated mainstream audiences. Its reassessment came later as horror fans discovered it on VHS and recognized the sophistication of its special effects and themes of mistrust. Over time, The Thing earned an estimated $50 to $70 million through home media and re-releases, and is now widely considered one of the greatest horror films ever made.
I want him found. Not Not tomorrow, not after breakfast, now.
Yes, sir. Let's go. Move your butts.
Few films illustrate delayed appreciation more clearly than The Shawshank Redemption from 1994. The film follows a wrongfully convicted banker who forms a decade-long friendship in prison while quietly working towards freedom and redemption. With a $25 million budget, the film earned only $28 to $29 million worldwide during its theatrical run, barely more than its production cost. Its muted marketing, confusing title, and lack of major action or spectacle contributed to its failure, as did fierce competition from major hits released the same year. Critics praised the performances and storytelling, but questioned its commercial appeal, often describing it as solid but somber. The film's fate changed almost entirely through VHS rental, cable television airings, and word of mouth, turning it into a perennial favorite. Its estimated total revenue now sits between $150 and $180 million, and it is routinely ranked among the best films ever made.
The first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club. The second rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
1999's Fight Club arrived with studio backing and major stars, but met a chilly box office response. An alienated office worker forms an underground fight club that evolves into a violent anti-consumerist movement, led by his charismatic alter ego Tyler Durden. With a production budget of $63 to $65 million, it earned about $100 million worldwide, which was disappointing once marketing costs were factored in. The film's corrosive satire of consumer culture and masculinity confused audiences and disturbed critics, many of whom accused it of glorifying violence or nihilism. Some reviewers outright rejected it as irresponsible or morally troubling. The film found redemption on DVD, where repeat viewing revealed its satirical intent and narrative complexity. Home video sales alone reportedly exceeded theatrical earnings, bringing the film's total lifetime revenue to over $200 million and cementing it as one of the defining cult films of its era.
Milt, we're going to need to go ahead and move you downstairs into storage B.
No,
we have some new people coming in, and we need all the space we can get.
But there's no space.
Mike Judge's Office Space from 1999 barely registered during its theatrical run. The film is a workplace satire about office employees rebelling against soul-crushing corporate bureaucracy and meaningless white-collar routines. Made for around $10 million, it earned only about $12 million in the theater. The film lacked star power and was marketed vaguely, failing to communicate that its low-key satire targeted white-collar burnout rather than broad slapstick comedy. Critics at the time described it as amusing but minor, often underestimating how accurately it captured workplace alienation. Once released on DVD and cable television, however, it found a massive audience. Over time, home media and licensing revenue pushed its estimated lifetime earnings to about $50 to $70 million.
You can suck them and suck them and suck them, and they'll never get any smaller. Never. At least I don't think they do. A few more tests.
How do you make them?
I'm a trifle deaf in this ear. Speak a little louder next time. Yeah.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory from 1971 failed because it defied expectations for a children's film. A poor boy wins a once-in-a-lifetime tour of a mysterious chocolate factory run by the eccentric and unpredictable Willy Wonka. Made for about $3 million, it earned just around $4 million during its initial run. Studios expected a straightforward family fantasy, but critics and parents were unsettled by Gene Wilder's eccentric, sometimes menacing performance. Reviews were mixed, often describing the film as uneven or tonally strange. Its gradual transformation into a classic came through repeated television broadcasts, embedding it into generational memory. Total revenue over decades of TV syndication, home video, and merchandising is estimated at $80 to $100 million.
You're such a fuck ass.
What? Please.
Did you just call me a fuck ass?
Elizabeth, that's enough.
You can go suck a fuck.
Oh, please tell me, Elizabeth, how exactly does one suck a fuck?
Richard Kelly's Donnie Darko from 2001 suffered from catastrophic timing. The film follows a troubled teenager plagued by visions of a grotesque figure predicting the end of the world, blending time loops, mental illness, and existential dread. Produced for approximately $4.5 million, it earned only around $7.5 million worldwide on its initial release. Its apocalyptic themes made it difficult difficult to market following the September 11th attacks. Critics were deeply divided, some praising its ambition, while others dismissed it as incoherent or pretentious. The DVD release allowed viewers to study and debate the film, turning confusion into intrigue. Over time, the film earned an estimated $40 to $50 million and became a cult rite of passage.
Hey, I'm talking to you, Scott Pilgrim.
He's famous and he talked to me.
The only thing keeping me and her apart is the 2 minutes it's gonna take to kick your ass.
Can I have your autograph, please?
Scott Pilgrim vs. the World from 2010 was a victim of cultural misalignment. A slacker musician must defeat his girlfriend's 7 evil exes in stylized video game-inspired battles to prove himself worthy of love. With a $60 million budget, it earned only about $47 million worldwide, a clear theatrical failure. Critics generally praised its style, but audiences unfamiliar with comic book logic and video game aesthetics found it alienating. Marketing struggled to explain its tone, and its energy was mistaken for childishness. As younger audiences grew into nostalgia culture, the film experienced a resurgence. Its total revenue, including home media and re-release, is now estimated at about $70 to $90 million.
Greetings and salutations. You a Heather?
No. I'm a Veronica. Sawyer.
And last, but certainly not least, there's Heathers from 1989, failed for being too viciously ahead of its time. A dark teen satire about a high school outsider drawn into a series of murders that mock popularity, conformity, and social cruelty. Made for roughly $3 million, it earned only about $1.1 million in the theaters. Critics and audiences were unsettled by its flippant depiction of teenage suicide, murder, and social cruelty. Many considered it offensive and nihilistic. On home video and later stage adaptations, its razor-sharp satire gained appreciation. Lifetime revenue is estimated at $20 to $30 million, and its influence on dark comedy is unmistakable, and it's also one of my favorite movies. I've seen it a gazillion badillion times.
You really think you stand a chance against an A-lister, bro? Some competition you are.
Consistent truth. Audiences and critics often resist works that challenge prevailing tastes and expectations. Time, context, and accessibility allow those same works to be reevaluated, transformed from box office disappointments into lasting cultural achievements. And that will end this particular video, gals and guys. I appreciate you as always. If you could please subscribe, like, share, that would be most auspicious. Auspicious? Is that a word? Alright, gals and guys, I will catch you later.